What's going on, guys? This should be at the end of the video, but it is still Saturday. It is about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I decided, why not? Let's do a catch clean cook video. I didn't record the hunt this morning, but I ended up getting a hen pintail. But yeah, I'm gonna do a little catch clean cook on this little hen pintail that I shot earlier. So right here we got our pintail breasts. They've been soaking in salt water for a couple hours now. I'm gonna slap these. I'm gonna drain this water, slap these on our cutting board, and then dry them off, and then I'll season them. So right here we got our pintail breasts on a cutting board. I'm just gonna kind of pat these dry, just dry enough to where they're fine, but not too dry to where seasoning won't stick to them. And then flip them over, dry the other side. What I'm gonna do with these is I'm gonna cut them up into little nuggets, and then I'm gonna put some egg. I'm gonna put an egg wash, some flour, and some breadcrumbs on them, and fry them up into little duck nuggets. So right now I'm just gonna cut them up into little nuggets. I like to do little bite-sized nuggets. I feel like it's a little easier to eat, and I feel like the seasoning gets a little distributed a little better. So just gonna cut these up into little bite-sized nuggets. So there's one breast down. We're gonna move over to the other one. So yeah, now we're gonna throw some seasoning on here. So what I like to use, I use some garlic powder. Just sprinkle some on here. And then I also throw all of these seasonings in my breadcrumbs, so it just gives it a little bit of an extra flavor. And then I'm putting on some Italian season right here. And then I like to throw on, I don't have it on because we are out of it, but I usually like to do a little bit of the Kinder's garlic and herb, and then a little bit of the Kinder's buttery steakhouse. But I don't have the buttery steakhouse today, so I'll just use this one. And then after that, I take a little bit of salt and salt them. There's a lot of salt, but whatever. And then a little bit of pepper, and throw some pepper on there. And then just kind of jumble them up. Mix all those seasonings on each little piece. Make sure they're all seasoned up nice and pretty evenly. You don't have to season your meat. I don't season it with geese, but I season it with duck because duck tastes a little bit gamier than goose in my opinion. So yeah, once you got all those seasoned up, you want to set those to the side, and I'll get the flour, egg, and breadcrumbs ready. So I just got all my flour and just this little kind of bowl, Tupperware, but then I got a lid, so I will demonstrate how to do that. I like to use 2 eggs. You can honestly probably use 1, but in my opinion 2 always just works better for me. But after you crack your eggs, you're gonna wanna whisk. I use a fork, and you wanna make it to where it looks all yellow. This eggshell did not wanna crack. So you wanna grab a fork, or you can use a whisk. I like using a fork, I feel like it does a little better. But after that, you kinda wanna take your eggs, kind of whisk them up like this until it's mainly yellow. You kind of want it to look like that. So then you got your egg wash, and then I usually use Italian and regular breadcrumbs, but today I'll be using some panko breadcrumbs and some just plain ones. So then camera over. Then you just want to take your other little container, and I'm going to throw in the pankos first. You don't need a lot because those will cover a pretty good surface area. Then you want to go more, I personally like to go more regular breadcrumbs. Then after you got those in there, looks pretty blank. So you want to take your seasonings. I like to use Italian seasoning and literally everything that I just put on my breast. So then you want to put a lot of seasoning in your breadcrumbs though, so that just to ensure that it gets all over your little nuggets. And then you kind of want to just mix that all up in, spread your seasoning evenly. And then yeah, now you're ready to take your breasts. And first you want to take your nuggets, you want to throw them in your flour and just kind of lay them out. I don't recommend putting them on top of each other. You probably can, but I'm gonna try and fit all of these just in one. But once you do that, you just want to take the lid to the container and throw it on there. And now you want to give it a good shake. Okay, the camera cut for some reason, but after you throw your breasts in your flour, you want to put them in your egg, and I use a lid on my Tupperware so I can just shake them up and they get all evenly egg. You want to make sure that your whole breast is covered in egg, because if there's no egg, then your breadcrumbs won't stick to it. So then I threw the flour and egg covered nuggets into the breadcrumbs. I usually like to use Italian breadcrumbs, not panko, but they didn't have any of those at the store, so I settled for panko and regular. But you could have probably used just regular breadcrumbs, but I feel like the pankos fry up a little better. I got my oil going over here, so we're gonna see if that's hot enough. All right, so we got our oil going right here. We're just gonna grab a little pinch of breadcrumbs and we're gonna drop it in the oil. So that is frying, so that means they are ready to be thrown in the oil. So you just wanna grab them. I just like to turn that oil a little bit. But yeah, you just wanna grab your nuggets. And I like to use a pot because I feel like I can kind of almost deep fry them a little bit. So I like to put enough oil to almost have like a nugget about this size float. So you just want to kind of lay them in your oil. And then you want to not really throw them on top of each other, so then they can kind of evenly cook. Just want to kind of evenly spread them out across your pot or pan, whatever you like to use. So now that they are all in there, you can just set these off to the side. And while those are cooking, what I like to use, I don't know where it is. Tool found. I like to use this little scooper. I honestly couldn't tell you what this is actually for. I just found it in my kitchen one day and said, wow, that would work perfectly. So I like to use this little scoop because then the oil falls to the bottom. But I like to grab a paper plate, and then I like to set some paper towels down on the paper plate so I can kind of soak up some of the rest of the oil. And then, yeah, you just kind of want to wait for these to fry up. When you first put them in, the oil is going to be really hot. It's going to be at its hottest temp throughout your cooking. So they're going to cook really fast on the one side, and then the other side is going to be a little bit slower. So you just kind of have to have patience with that. And like right now, I kind of turn my oil down a little bit too low. So they are kind of slowly frying. But yeah, you don't want to cook them in too high of a temperature oil, and you don't want to cook them at too low, because if you cook them too low, they'll get really soggy. If you cook them too high, you won't have time to flip them, so they will just get all hard and burnt. But yeah, as these are kind of frying up, just want to check on a couple of them, like this one. Like that, I mean, you could probably get away with that, but in my personal opinion, that isn't cooked enough. So just want to throw it down, kind of. I like to move them around a little bit. I feel like it cooks them a little better. But yeah. So these have been frying up for about a minute. So I'm gonna check and see. So like, yeah, that one's golden brown. Then you're just gonna kind of want to. It's kind of hard to flip with this thing.
But once you kind of get the hang of it, it's fine. I also did not have as much oil as I thought I would, so I'm running on a little bit less oil than I would like to use, but we're gonna make it work here. Now, you can probably cook them a little darker than this, and honestly, I think a lot of people do, but in my personal opinion, I like duck a little bit rarer, so it's not as chewy, and I feel like the rarer you kind of cook it, the less the flavors kind of get there, so it's not as gamey in my opinion. So once you get all of these kind of flipped around in your oil, you just kind of want to spread them all out, make sure there's none on the top of each other again. Make sure you flip them all too, so they can be evenly kind of cooked. Now you just want to wait for them to do that side. This side is going to take a little bit longer because it's the oil is kind of cooled down as its original temperature, so it's not going to be as fast. So yeah. So these have been cooking for a minute, so I'm just going to check the other side. Yeah, they need to go a little bit longer. You kind of want to check all of them when you check the other side because some might be in a little bit better spot. A minute. Like this one, it's done, and a couple of the other ones aren't. So now you just kind of want to take them and you want to put them on your plate with the paper towel so you can kind of soak up the rest of the grease. It's like, yeah, there we go. There's another one that's done. That one's done. Yeah, that one's done. So now that these are done, you're just gonna kind of want to, like I said, set them over all on your plate, and then let them cool down a little bit. And as they're kind of cooling down, that's when you kind of want to pat them dry with the paper towel so that you don't got hot oil all over and you're not soaking through your plate. So now we want to turn the oil off. So now these just came off. I'm going to kind of tap them. You can kind of see the oil coming off of them. But yeah, stay tuned for the eat. So we got our nuggets kind of cooked up right here. I threw some extra seasoning on there just because. But yeah, they just cooled down. This is my first ever time eating pintail. I've only really had mallards, divers, gadwall, and teal. So I've had some of the best eating ducks. So yeah, we're gonna eat this and see, rate it out of 10. I would say, I would give that about a 9 out of 10. That is probably one of the better ducks I've ate, but I don't think that's as good as green wing teal. I personally think green wing teal is the best eating duck, hands down. I don't think any other duck's better. People can argue and try and say a mallard's better, but it's just, I don't think it is. But yeah, hey, check out Beaver Creek Game Calls. I was blowing one this morning to get this beautiful pintail in. Check them out. They make some pretty nice calls. I was blowing the quack pipe this morning. They have a whole bunch of assortment of calls. They have a whole bunch of duck calls, turkey calls, deer calls, and goose calls. And they like to do a whole bunch of sales, so just keep your eye out for some sales. They make some shirts, some really cool shirts, and some really cool hats, too. I'll link them down in the description below so you guys can check them out. But yeah, I would rate this pintail, like I said, probably a 9.5 out of 10. I don't think it's the best eating duck I've had. I think that's still definitely green wing teal. But it's definitely better than a lot of the divers and a lot of the mallards that I've ate. But yeah, thanks for watching.